The following content may contain elements that are not suitable for young audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. They say that our grandparents were the person who loves us more than our parents do. Sometimes they are the ones who tolerate us or spoiled us, in any way they wanted to. Making sure that we are comfortable and cared for, when we are going through a difficult time. They also extend their support to us at all times, and in all situations. We also learned from listening to their life experiences, but today in our case, we will be talking about a lady whose murder case shocked the entire Russian nation. Not just only she killed her final victim, but she also ate some of her flesh, scattered the remaining parts to her house, and put the head in a saucepan. This woman was also suspected of killing, dismembering, and eating 20 more people, before killing her last victim. Now, let's dig into the story of the Granny Ripper of Russia, Tamara Samsonova. Tamara Samsonova was born on April 25, 1947 in the city of Uzur, part of Krasnoyarsk region, in Siberia, Russia. Little is known about his family when she was younger, or if she ever had kids in her lifetime. But Tamara studied, and after high school she entered Moscow State Linguistic School in Moscow. After graduating, she moved to St. Petersburg. There she met and married Alexei Samsonov. In 1971, the young couple moved, and settled in the newly built Manor House No. 4 on Dimitrov Street. There, Tamara unleashed her cannibalistic and sadistic way of killing her victims. Tamara also worked for 16 years at the Grand Hotel Europe, until her retirement. Everything went well and fine for Tamara, until she contacted the police, to report that her husband was missing. They search and gather information surrounding the disappearance of Tamara's husband, but yielded nothing. He has never been found. The police suspected that Tamara may have killed her husband, but they cannot prove it because of the lack of evidence against her. She was diagnosed as schizophrenic and was also hospitalized in a psychiatric hospital 3 times, due to her condition. When Tamara's husband disappeared, she began renting out an apartment on her home. By doing this she can save enough money and support her needs. But on September 6, 2003, she had an argument with his tenant. He was a 44-year-old resident from Norilsk. She killed him, then proceeded to dismember his body, and finally disposed it to the street. In one of her written entry on her diary, it read, "I killed my tenant Volodya, cut him to pieces in the bathroom with a knife and put the pieces of his body in plastic bags and threw them away in the different parts of Frunzensky district." This all happened when Tamara was 56 years old, and 12 years later her crime will resurface, with the same method of killing, same weapon, and same place. Fast forward to 2015, Tamara met 79-year-old Valentina Nikolaevna Ulanova. She also lived in Dimitrov Street and a neighbor of Tamara. Due to the fact that Tamara lived alone, and no one helped her to do cleaning and housework, a friend of the two suggested, if Ulanova can shelter Tamara just for a short period of time, because her house was being renovated. To which Ulanova agreed without hesitation. At first, Tamara helped Ulanova to do housework, and she lived there for months. But the problem arose when Tamara refused to leave her house, and wanted to stay longer. Ulanova eventually asked Tamara to leave. Conflict after conflict, their relationship deteriorated. At the end, Tamara devised a plan to kill her. Tamara traveled to Pushkin and bought a prescription drug, Pirazepam. She also bought an Oliver salad before returning home. She knew that it was Ulanova's favorite dish, then put some pills, and gave it to the woman. Tamara's plan was to evict Ulanova on her own home, by poisoning the unsuspected women. At 2:00 a.m. in the morning, on July 23, Tamara woke up to see the defenseless, unconscious, body of Ulanova, lying on the kitchen floor. She proceeds to dismember her friend, using a saw and 2 knives. Firstly sawing off the head of Ulanova, then she sawed the body in half. Using her knives, she sheared the parts into pieces. When she's done in chopping off Ulanova, she put the body parts in several plastic bags, and take it all outside. She was seen on a CCTV camera, coming back and forth to the apartment while holding some of the plastic bags with the dismembered remains of Oleneva. Tamara left the other body parts scattered around the house. The way that Tamara discarded the remains of Oleneva was spine-chilling and stomach-churning. Here is the CCTV footage of Tamara at the night of July 23. If you going to watch it, watch at your own risk. As you've seen in the footage, those plastic bags contains the dismembered remains of Oleneva. Some of Oleneva's body parts are later to be discovered on the evening of July 26, just outside the apartment where the two lived, but her head was never been found. Investigators and police tried to locate her head, but Tamara didn't reveal the exact location, or what she had done to Oleneva's head. The identity of the victim was established when the police to survey the residents of the apartment. When they knocked on Oleneva's house, Tamara opened the door. As soon as they entered, they saw bloodstains on the bathroom, and the fastening of the ripped curtain, all pointed to Tamara, and she was immediately arrested. Many were shocked to see that at the age of Tamara, she can do gruesome and cruel things. Even though it was her friend, she had no remorse of what she had done. What's more chilling about this case is when Tamara demonstrates to police and investigators how she killed Oleneva. One police also found her diary, her death diary, that was written in English, German, and Russian. These contains detailed entry of how Tamara ate and killed her victims, what weapon she used, and how and where she disposed the body. She also wrote how she hacked up the body of Oleneva in the kitchen, because she was too heavy to carry outdoors. For me, maybe Tamara wrote these entries to remember as she was diagnosed as schizophrenic. Because of the discovery of her diary, she was accused in connection for 14 more murders, as well as the disappearance of her husband. Tamara Samsonova was brought to the Frunze District Court of St. Petersburg on July 29, 2015, with the court issuing an order to detain her. She was forced to take a forensic psychiatric exam to determine her state of mind. After 4 months the result was released. It showed that she was a danger to herself, and to the society. As she was mentally incompetent to stand trial because of her condition, they decided to place her in a specialized institution until the end of the investigation. By December of 2015, Samsonova was sent for compulsory psychiatric treatment in a specialized hospital in Kazan, where she still lived. As for the investigation, the authorities were attempting to link the diary entries of Tamara with cold cases. When Samsonova was under investigation, she was suspected to 13 more murders, and told the police the reason she killed her friend was over unwashed cups. They also noted that Tamara had a penchant for removing the lungs of her victim and eat it. During interrogation, she easily confessed to all killings, and told reporters it's all deliberate. "I've been preparing for this day for 10 years. I'm a very old person and I now have nowhere to live, so I decided that I must go to prison." She pleaded guilty to all charges, subsequently blowing a kiss to reporters, and giggling during her court hearing. One of Tamara's neighbor also gave a statement saying that the woman was obsessed to Andrei Chikatilo or the Red Ripper, as well as black magic, and literature. They also said Tamara was a strange person. Now the police are linking her in total of 21 murder case over the course of 12 years, because they think that she might be involved in their disappearance. It's hard to imagine being dismembered alive, just like what happened to Mrs. Oleneva. They started as friends and they turned into this. What's more painful is the fact that she was killed by her friend, her neighbor. We will never know what really happened inside the mind of Tamara. We are not sure if it is just over unwashed cups, or when Mrs. Oleneva wants her to leave, that made her panic, and pushed her to plan gruesome and horrible act towards her, as she was mentally unstable and schizophrenic on the night of the murder. So what do you think of Tamara Samsonova? Is she a monster? A serial killer? Or a born criminal? Comment down below your thoughts and opinions. That's all folks, see you in our next criminal video.